Ms. Klobuchar, who's one of my very favorite of Americans' leaders because she's one of the few members of Congress who has never taken a dime from Google. Mr. Lee, who helped me and my team to get Google to back off in a national election. Thank you, sir, immensely. It's my first chance ever to thank you. Thank you. And other members of the committee. I'm here to tell you about an existential threat to our country that is so well hidden. I warn you, by the way, some of what might turn up on the screen in the next minute or two might be disturbing. I apologize in advance, but it's necessary that you see it. It's so well hidden that you might know nothing about it. It's a threat posed by big tech monopolies, eerily predicted by President Eisenhower in 1961. In 2016, Google alone shifted more than 2.6 million votes to Hillary Clinton, whom I supported, using subliminal techniques I had been studying and quantifying since 2013. 4 days later, a leaked video showed Google's leaders, devastated by Trump's win, telling their employees they would not allow Trump to win the presidency again. They would guarantee his defeat through their, quote, great strength and resources and reach. They made good on this promise in 2020, and in 2022, as I explained recently in the Epoch Times, they stopped the red wave cold. I lean left, but I don't think a private monopoly, one with no accountability to the public, should be able to pick our nation's leaders. Who knows how these secretive companies will lean next year, after all. After that all-hands meeting, Google perfected at least a dozen new methods of subliminal control that I have now been studying using rigorous scientific methods for more than a decade. To shift votes, we know from leaked emails that Google relies on what they call ephemeral experiences. Fleeting content such as search results, search suggestions, and up next videos on YouTube. Content that impacts undecided voters and then disappears, leaving no paper trail. Since 2016, my dedicated team has been building increasingly more sophisticated monitoring systems that preserve and analyze ephemeral content. This is Google's worst nightmare because it means we are surveilling them just as they surveil us and our children 24 hours a day. In other words, we are giving you, our nation's leaders, the ammunition you need to finally hold Google and other tech companies accountable to the public. Our research, which we publish in prestigious peer-reviewed journals, allows us to measure the power big tech has to shift votes, while our monitoring systems let us see whether these manipulations are actually being used. In one case so far, we shared our data with Senators Lee, Johnson, and Cruz. They sent a strong letter to the CEO of Google, which ceased some of its election manipulations that very day. It turned off the political bias in its search engine and stopped sending partisan go vote reminders on its homepage. Through our monitoring, we detected those changes the moment they were made. We preserve ephemeral content through the computers of a representative sample of real voters. One must monitor through the computers of real people because big tech sends out personalized content. To see what they're sending people, you must look over the shoulders of real people, just like the Nielsen company does with television viewers. Algorithms, my friends, I'm sorry to say, cannot be regulated because they are inherently opaque, even to the programmers. And even if you did regulate, we still need to monitor to make sure there is compliance. We started small, but have deployed bigger systems with each election. In 2022, we preserved more than 2.5 million ephemeral experiences through the computers of more than 2,000 voters in 10 swing states. We are now building the world's first nationwide digital shield, and we just released a public dashboard. It's at americasdigitalshield.com. It's what you're seeing on your screen. And it shows our cumulative findings in real time as we are receiving the data. We are collecting and displaying data 24 hours a day through the computers of more than 13,000 voters in all 50 states, and so far we have court-admissible data in 15 states. We have thus far, the extreme political bias we are seeing in content being sent to voters, along with the highly sexualized and violent content being sent to America's kids, confirm my worst fears. The technological elite, as Eisenhower called them, are now in control of our democracy, and they are systematically indoctrinating our children. If we can secure funding to expand our system so we have court-admissible data in all 50 states, the tech companies will back down in 2024. And even if they don't, we will have incontrovertible evidence of election rigging on a massive scale. If no monitoring system is in place, Google alone will be able to shift between 6.4 and 25.5 million votes in the 2024 presidential election, leaving no paper trail and making a mockery of the free and fair election. Thank you for your attention and for protecting our great nation from threats, both foreign and, I hope, domestic.
Dr. Epstein, I'd like to go to you next. America's Digital Shield Project has, I think it's over 13,000 field agents. I see you're nodding your head. I'm in the ballpark that allow the collection of data to recreate authentic online experiences. And it's my understanding that it operates in a manner that's designed maybe kind of to replicate or exceed the capabilities of the Nielsen research data system, with the latter system referring to TV viewers, of course. It's different when you're dealing with the internet because it's much broader, much more, it moves much more quickly. Can you explain a little bit how you analyze this data to reach some of the results that you're looking for and how you go about that?
Yes, but first I have to say for the record that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And you folks on this committee have very good intentions and you're wonderful people. But you don't understand, you're not really hearing what's being said to you. What's being said to you is you can't regulate algorithms. I've been a programmer since I was 13. I can tell you for sure, algorithms, especially nowadays, are completely opaque. And even if you tried to, they would outprogram you long before you got that final vote, long before you got a bill passed.
Yeah, I don't recall ever having said that we should regulate algorithms, nor do I think that's
you're talking about
physically possible.
Appointing a special algorithm regulator.
It was just one question, I think.
Australia tried regulating algorithms. Your concerns here are just not where they should be, in my opinion. Instead, you have to look at what you just asked about, which is you have to look at where the rubber meets the road. It doesn't matter who's programming what. What matters is what the consumer is actually getting on his or her computer, and all of that is personalized. There is no way to know what they're getting unless you are looking over the shoulders of a very large number of real users who cannot be identified by the tech companies. And we've been building that kind of technology since 2016, and America's Digital Shield is our attempt now to build a permanent, self-sustaining system that looks over the shoulders of tens of thousands of Americans in all 50 states, politically balanced, representative of each population in each state, and court admissible. And that is what we have been doing. And it's very, very difficult. That's a $3 million website you were looking at. It's very difficult to find those voters, explain to them what we're doing, get them to agree to sign NDAs, very rigorous NDAs, and that's what we do.
Okay, can I ask a question about your youth content project?
Yes.
It's my understanding that it's shown that Google is exposing children to videos on YouTube that are inappropriate, in some cases sexually explicit or otherwise disturbing, harmful in one way or another. How has your research uncovered this under the Up Next feature, and how does YouTube use algorithms to select the up next content shown to children?
Well, this has already been mentioned by other people here, but YouTube selects content to increase watch time. And this is true even for 5-year-olds. They want more watch time because then the 5-year-old will run to mommy and say, "Mommy, buy that." So that's the key here. Watch time equals revenue, period. Leaks from these companies, especially Facebook, have shown this unequivocally. So what we are doing now is we have, through our field agents, we've been able to connect to our system the mobile devices of more than 2,600 children of some of our field agents who want to know what content those kids are seeing. And this content, if someone would turn the screen on again, it's displaying right now in real time, this content is shocking. I've had research staff who will not work with this content. They won't do it because it is so disturbing. This is going to our kids, and it's going to kids in such a way that parents don't even know what's going on. There is no way to understand anything that's happening on the internet unless you are looking over the shoulders of tens of thousands of real people. They have to be real people, real kids, real voters. That's why we've been working so hard to build this system. And it works, and we have learned ways to analyze the data in real time that's streaming in from more than 10,000 computers, and we're going to get that number up to 40 or 50,000 if we can.
And to be clear, that's content that's appearing on a platform designed for kids, marketed to parents as for kids.
Not only are these images coming from real videos being watched by real kids, these are recommended. Right. These are recommended videos. We keep track of what's recommended and what people are actually watching.
Now, tell me, if you can, imagine a world in which Google did not have monopolistic market power. Just imagine that world for a minute. John Lennon's Imagine is playing in the back of your mind. How would Google's behavior change? How would the experience with Google and Google products change?
I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
So any of the things that we're talking about, would Google ever have been in a position where it was telling half the country which side of the political aisle it wanted them to gravitate toward? Would it be directing content to kids that it shouldn't be?
If we were monitoring on a large scale and in a scientifically validated manner, which is what we've been building here, okay, Google would pull out. They still could make billions of dollars, but they would pull out. They'd stop the manipulations of our elections. They'd stop the manipulation of pricing to the extent that they're doing it. They would stop because they could still make money, but we would be making them accountable. What you're seeing on the screen right now are elections that Google has flipped. We have a long, long list of elections that Google has flipped because we now know how to calculate precisely how many the votes they're shifting in each election, because we not only have the basic research, but we also now have evidence coming to the eyeballs of real voters. We have the evidence showing they're actually showing people this content.